Hello and welcome to World of Tanks Tank Review with me, the most everyone, aka MrSuryt. Today we are not looking at a tank, we're looking at an ATI, an SPG self-propelled gun. We're looking at the Soviet Tier 7 SPG, the SU-14-1, which is one of two artillery on the, or in the Soviet tech tree. Let's have a look at whereabouts it sits, right down the bottom here on the dedicated SPG line, the SU-14-1. The S-51, the Unicorn, is your other Tier 7 ATI. It's right here. And it's kind of a strange spot to have it. To get to the S-51, you actually go down the heavy line. It's the KV-2 leads to the S-51. KV-2, mind you, is a very nice tank, but it's a very different tank to an ATI. Now, out of the two, there are quite a few differences, quite a few things the same. The gun, for example, the big gun on this thing here, the S-51, is exactly the same as the 14-1, and it is an absolute beast. So they both have the potential same alpha damage, slow to fire, but massive damage if you can pen. Between the two, the S-51 is generally considered to be the better ATI because it is faster and more mobile. It's also much smaller profile, so it's much easier to hide this thing. The SU-14-1 is a very slow beast. It doesn't turn too fast, it doesn't roll too fast, and it is monstrously large. It is huge. So a lot of people will say the S-51 is the better ATI. However, in saying that, a lot of people also look at the two and say the SU-14-1 is on the dedicated SPG line, which means that this person here, he has potential to have gained a little bit more experience in ATI. He certainly had to play a lot more artillery to get to the 14-1 than the S-51 driver. So sometimes people, yeah, they'll look at the S-51 say better ATI, but they'll look at the SU-14-1 and say better driver. Not always the case, but seeing as I'm a 14-1 driver, I like to think it's true. Now, speaking of the size, this thing is absolutely monstrous. I don't really have too many large tanks to compare it to. If we have a look, I don't know, maybe the T-28 prototype, which is known to be a very large tank. He's pretty big, but he's nothing compared to the size of the 14-1. Even the T-30, tiny. Absolutely tiny. In fact, see the size of this gun here? This here is the big gun, the 203mm. It is bigger than the T1 Cunningham. It is bigger. The gun is bigger than the Tier 1 American tank. Just the gun alone. This thing is massive, and the reason for that is because this thing was originally built. It was originally built as an SU-14, not as a 14-1. It was a prototype Soviet SPG, and it was built on the T-35 heavy tank chassis. The T-35 was so large because it was a 5-turret heavy tank. In fact, it was the only 5-turret heavy tank to ever go into production. It was very large, very slow, and stupid to ever consider the thing and build it, to be honest. It had a lot of issues. And that's where they got the chassis from for this thing. That was back in 1933, well before the war. This thing was first conceived. 34 it was actually born, the very first one, and only one prototype at that point. In 35 they decided to upgrade it a little bit. It underwent a few upgrades. They changed the gun. Originally this thing did have the 203mm. It started with the 203mm. In 35 they downgraded that to 152mm, 152.4mm in fact. This one right here, kind of strange, it goes backwards. At the same time that they were upgrading the original SU-14, they decided to build another one to the new specs. They put the ML20 152mm, or sometimes, depending, it all depends on the source you go to as to which gun was put on there or what it was called. Quite often you'll read that it was the 152mm B10 naval cannon, Sometimes they just call it the ML20. It was 152mm, and the two prototypes, the original SU-14 and the new SU-14, were both given two different 152mm guns. Now the second one was, well, it was finished building a year after the upgrade, so it was built in 36. That's when they redesignated the SU-14 as the SU-14-1. It was when it underwent trials in 1937, and full production was expected to start the next year. However, as I almost spilled my drink, it never did. It never underwent production. A few reasons for that, and it all depends again on the source you go to. Now, the SU-14 and SU-14-1 never technically seen, or those designations never seen action, because in 1940 they decided that they needed another upgrade. They only had two of them, so they underwent another upgrade, and that was in preparation for the war with Finland. Well, what they do, they basically added more armour. They slowed the thing down. It got a little bit better at aiming, but yeah, much slower. Much more armour, however. They redesignated it after that point as well as the SU-14-2. It's often nicknamed the SU-14-2 as the school bus because of its massive profile. Let's see him here, right here, because he kind of looks like a school bus. So yeah, start off as an SU-14, become an SU-14-1, and then become an SU-14-2. There is no SU-14 or 14-1 left, of course. The SU-14-2, that did take part in the defence of Moscow in 1941 through 42. Again, that's another, depending on who you talk to, as to when that finished. But it did see a bit of action there. In 1960, the very first one built, the original SU-14, that was scrapped. The second one does still exist. It exists as a 14-2, however, and it's in a tank museum in Russia, just outside of Moscow, I believe. I'm going to say this wrong. It's the tank museum in Kbps. Now, this particular tank museum, most of you guys will know it better as the place where you can go and see the only surviving mouse. Yeah, it's in the same place as the mouse. Who'd have thought? So it's got a bit of a history, but it's so few ever built, it's kind of a little bit difficult to find much about this thing. Let's actually look at what it is in game. Hit points 350. Yeah, it's not great, but you know what? You don't expect to survive a hit or two from this thing anyway, so it's not bad. The weight, it's a bit weighty, as you'd expect from such a large thing. Engine power 700 horsepower is not too bad, except it is quite heavy. So speed of 30 with that nice 700 engine power, 700 horsepower engine. Look, 52 ton, 700, no, you're never going to hit 30. You're not going to hit 30. You need an entire kilometre wide map in order to do that kind of thing. It's just not going to happen. Traverse speed is slow. 16 degrees per second. This is quite slow. The hull armour is non-existent. It's arty, let's not forget. Standard shell damage is monstrous. Depends on the gun that you're using. Some people will stick with the 152, some go to the 203mm. We'll go over that a little bit more when we get into the gun. Up to 2,313 standard shell damage. You can one-hit tier 10 heavy tanks. You are an absolute beast. You're not going to, but, well, maybe not the mouse with 3,000 hit points. The E100, you're going to be pretty damn lucky to do that. You're not going to one-hit a mouse either. Sorry, an E100. T57, that's a pretty nice target and potential one-hit. The E5, Also another one I'm going down. That's a one hit. In fact, most other heavy tanks you're going to find are a nice, juicy, easy, easy one-hit tanks. I didn't even look at the Russian IS-4 and IS-7. Both have quite a decent bit of health. The IS-7 is a one-hit if you can pen it. The IS-4 is going to take a little bit more. So this thing does do a lot of damage. Standard shell penetration is a bit of a problem though if you're going to be one-shotting tier 10 heavy tanks. 77 to 128. If we go to the well, actually we go over here. No, we'll go back to the gun. We'll go back to the gun in the research. Right here. There we go. 102 mil. Standard shell, 102 mil. 1850 is your average damage, but only 102 pen. Thankfully, Russian or Soviet SPGs, they tend to have quite a decent arc to them. So it is possible to lob one down on top quite easily, where it is generally a little bit softer, so you can do massive amounts of damage. Rate of fire, 1.08 rounds per minute. It takes over a minute to load a round in this thing. It is very slow. You're going to be lucky to shoot off 3 or 4 rounds a game. It does make it nice and cheap, mind you, but it also means you've got to make your shots count. The gun traverse is 12 degrees per second, which is pretty slow. To go with that rate of fire of 108, if we go to the actual top gun, the aiming time is 8 seconds. So you have a very long aiming time, a slow to move gun that doesn't move too much from side to side. The S-51 I believe has a pretty narrow arc as well. But basically, yeah, you've got to almost pre-aim this thing if you want to hit. View range 360 is not so important. Signal range is quite good at 625. That is with the upgraded radio. Got a couple of radios to choose from there. The standard one, the stock, is only 360 meters, so you definitely need to upgrade that. However, you do. Well, that's the 360 meter. The upgraded one, it's available on quite a few other tanks, so there's a good chance that you will already have it unlocked. So straight away whack that thing on. Get good range out of that. Let's have a look at the guns. Now we're going to look at the guns because there is two that people will choose. The 152mm, the BR2, and the B4, the 203mm. The B4 is your big boy, and he is very expensive to research. From memory, it's about 64,000 research for this guy, and 235,000 credits. So he's not cheap at all. The 152, by comparison, only 14,800 to research, so you should be able to upgrade fairly quick to the 152. Which I recommend getting the first upgrade as quickly as you possibly can. Between the two, the reasons that people will stick with the 152 over the 203 is that reload and the aiming time. The aiming time on the 152, a little bit faster. It's still not great, 7 seconds. The accuracy though is quite a bit better at 0.76 compared to 0.88 accuracy. The damage though is pretty much half, or almost half, at 950 for your standard round compared to 1850 with the big boy. Yeah, bit of a difference there. I've gone for the 203mm. Bit slower but very satisfying when you do one shot tier 8, 9, 10 tanks, and it is possible. Looking at the ammo for the 203, there is 3 different types. Well, 3 different ammo types, I guess. 2 different types, really. There's 2 high explosive and 1 armor piercing. Now the armor piercing, we'll look at you first. It's the cheapest of the lot. Why on earth would you want armor piercing on an ATI? It does have a use. The armor piercing, generally people will use that more as a shotgun sort of effect. If something gets nice and close, you use this thing because you're more or less guaranteed to pen it. You've got right here 260 average pen up to 325mm, so you do have a good chance of penning just about anything that gets through to you. You do a decent whack of damage with it too, 1450, 1450, so you're still going to more often than not one-shot tanks that are getting to you. I carry one just in case something gets through. Now the 2 high explosive, they both do the same damage. There's no difference to the load time. Big difference to the cost, however. One is your gold, or 8,000 credits per round. The other is 1,910 credits per round. They don't appear to be any different on first glance. There is a big difference between the two. The 625D, this guy here, the standard round, he's got a splash radius of 6.07 meters. That means he will blow up an area, or when he blows up, he will damage an area up to 6.07 meters. It's quite decent. Consider a Tiger tank, 6.3 meters. So you can just about cover an entire Tiger with one of the explosions from the standard round. Now the F625 DBM, he has 8.49 meters. Splash is much larger. In fact, if you land this thing smack in the middle of your Tiger, you also run the very slim you run the chance of also damaging a tank in front and behind the Tiger. 8.49, you're not going to miss too often. Even if you do miss, you're still going to do a lot of damage with something that large. I don't carry any because they're very expensive and I don't have a lot of money. But maybe 1 or 2 of these just in case you see a massive big group of tanks you want to land a shot down on. Consumables, whilst we're here, I've got none. The reason for that is, well, you get hit in this thing, you're dead. You're not going to be moving too much, so you don't need to upgrade your engines. You get hit and you need to repair, doesn't matter, you're dead. If you lose a crew member, doesn't matter, you're dead. Probably the only thing that is useful there be the extra combat rations, 10% to all crew skills and perks. That gets you, well, that's actually quite useful, but it is 50 gold, so I don't bother. Let's have a look at the equipment. Now, I have on mine Camo Net because I had one available. Most people will whack one on there just because it will, well, it runs the risk, I guess. It's potentially going to save you. Or just save you for that little bit longer so you can get that shot off and hopefully save yourself. Other than that, well, you're definitely going to want a large caliber artillery shell rammer, 10% to load time. This here will bring the load with my crew, and this thing here, I'm looking around about between 47 and 49 seconds to reload. So it takes that reload time down massively with the big gun. Probably the only other one, again, you don't need anything to help you with repairs or damage or anything like that. Probably an enhanced gun lane drive wouldn't hurt. Oop, knocked a mic. Plus 10% to aiming speed. I don't have one because, again, I'm a very poor tanker. I don't have enough cash for one. Wouldn't be a bad idea though. We're going to look at perks and skills for our crew, and we're going to ignore what my crew have. I have no idea where this crew came from. I don't know that they were artillery originally, and I don't even know why they've got the perks they do have. I just noticed it before when I was looking through it. I need to reassign some perks, I think, and skills. Now, Commander. Camouflage, not a bad idea, just to keep yourself a little bit more safe. This thing, camo rating's not going to be great anyway though. Brothers in Arms would be quite useful. It's a perk though, needs to be at 100%. Camo doesn't. Looking at the commander specific skills, Mentor would be a good one. Increase view range with Recon, not really needed. Jack of all trades, not really needed. Eagle Eye. Eagle Eye wouldn't be bad to find out when you've been spotted, because often you do get spotted very early on when you're trying to get into position by those pesky little lights. So Eagle Eye wouldn't be a bad idea, but again, it's a perk. It's got to get to 100. Wait, I'm talking not about Eagle Eye, Sixth Sense, sorry. Eagle Eye itself, no, it's a perk that's useless really. You can identify what's wrong with the enemy. Chances are you're the one that created that wrong with the enemy. Sixth Sense, however, that's one that, yeah, it can be useful. It's a perk. I don't know why it is on my commander before I'm already even at 100%, but yeah, there it is. You also can use this guy as the radio operator. Boosting the signal strength may be useful, but nothing else there really. Probably going with Mentor, Brothers in Arms, Camouflage, and Sixth Sense eventually with the commander. The gunner, you get two gunners here. This particular gunner, he's got Snapshot, which is not a bad choice. Improves accuracy during turret rotation. Now, this thing doesn't have a turret, so does it work with the hull moving, with turretless vehicles? Yes, it does. It originally was not meant to. However, Snapshot was shown to work with turretless tank destroyers and the like. It was said by Wargaming that that is a bug and it will be fixed. It was then re-corrected later on and said, well, no, we're going to leave it. However, it's not going to be as effective with a turretless vehicle as it is with a turret. So it's not as effective on this thing here as it is on something with a turret, but it's still not a bad choice. Improving accuracy during turret rotation. That's a skill, not a perk, so you can get that guy straight away. Camo, Brothers in Arms, also alright. Designated Target, Armourer, and Deadeye, not really. You get hit, you're dead. Designated Target, if you had to choose another one specifically for the gunner, probably be your Designated Target. Just giving yourself 2 more seconds of potential aiming on something sometimes can be the difference between getting that shot off and not getting that shot off, but I probably wouldn't get it straight away. You got 2 gunners though, so you can go, you could go both if you wanted. Looking at the driver, I've got, what have I got on here? Clutch braking, increased vehicle rotation speed. You're quite slow. Increased vehicle rotation speed is going to help you move the SPG just that little bit faster if you have to find a new target. So yeah, not a bad one to go with. Again, Brothers in Arm, Camo. What else we got? Controlled impact, no. Off-road, no. Smooth ride, no. You don't want to be moving. Preventative maintenance, no. So yeah, clutch braking. Loaders, you got 2 of these as well. I think I've got camo on both. They're both different. These guys have come from a different tank to one another as well. I don't know where these guys have come from. Both, one's at 64%, one's at 84%. Previous tank, I believe, does not have 2 loaders, the SU-8, so maybe that's why one's higher than the other. And again, Brothers in Arms, increase your skill, camo, but loaders, they don't have anything that you really want other than Brothers in Arms and camo. Repairs, firefighting, again, you get hit, it's too late, so there's no point. Only thing left to do, have a look at a few games. This is going to be fun. Trying to get a good game in this thing is not easy, so yeah, I might see if I can't show 2 games. One, the typical artillery game, and the other one, a fantastic game showing off just what this gun can do. Bear with me, this might take a while before I get these games up. Right, we got ourselves a game. We've actually had a few good games in this SPG since doing the review. Unfortunately, we've also had a bit of unluck or bad luck with the replays, so I haven't been able to show them. This one here is my first ever game in the 8.11 update. We'll see how we go. We are looking at Melanovka. Not my favourite map, but for artillery it's actually a pretty decent one. I don't mind it. It's a 47%er, so it's right on border. Could go either way. That... oh, I've confused the third now with SU-101 in my battle results review, but the SU-101, you see him in the chat a fair bit. He's commander of this motley crew. Actually does a really good job. 14k games played. He's a bit of a... if he played more games, he'd be a complete unicorn. But he's getting there. Firstly, you would have noticed lag at the start. Right up the top. There we go. Up the top here, my ping was getting up 300-400. So I actually missed the starting gun. I was out trying to just get my computer working again. Now the first thing I've done, I have not gone into the typical arty spot. If we just bring up the map, most arty they hang out around here or here. I've gone to the very back of the buildings. Not the best spot for arty. There is a reason for that. And if we go up around here, I don't have my zoom mod at the moment, unfortunately, so I can't zoom as far out as I'd like to. I'm currently going to aim at that FCM50T. Enemy arty's around here. When an artillery shoots, you can see him shooting if you're arty. So you got to try to hang out in places that are not typical. I didn't really get a shot off on him, unfortunately. He just ducked out. Go back down to this KV-1S. I'll go back into tank view. Yeah, so try to hide where you shouldn't be, basically. As safe a spot as you possibly can. It was quite hard convincing... oh, KV-1S, take a shot!
That was close.
Yeah. That was not close. That was nowhere near where I aimed. But oh well. I got a bit unlucky. Go for the IS-3, he's not there anymore. I'll have a look up the hill in a second. It was quite hard getting our heavies to go up the hill there. If you look using XVM on the list over here, which we'll get rid of that there, our heavies are not exactly the most, shall we say, skilled. This IS-3 is going to regret me being on the opposition, the enemy team, regret being out in the open too. See, that shot, 2 shots bounced off him. Fantastic armour of the IS-3. Very predictable, Mr. IS-3. Here, have a 777 damage round. That was close. That was splash damage. This is me moving out of the way in case the enemy artillery see me. Yeah, 777 splash damage. I didn't even penetrate him. I didn't even hit him. One of many shots that did not hit. Right, now that T-34 is a nice juicy target. I wouldn't mind if I had the opportunity to hit all 3 of those tanks. Unfortunately, the enemy FCM50T French, kinda heavy. he's gone. Alright, KV-5 has actually spotted that object 416 at D6. He's doing a fantastic job spotting down there. Or he will do a much better job, trust me. Here you go, that SU-101 trying to get a few more tanks up the hill. It's a little bit late though. They've sat back. And they've given the hill away. Alright, KV-1S. Fantastic driver, that KV-1S. Just about drowns himself here. The Tiger. Ooh, just got hit. Wouldn't mind taking a blind shot at him, but I decide against it. With this particular gun, waiting as long as you have to, you'd be absolutely stupid to take blind shots. You can't do it. You simply can't do it. You have to take shots on targets that you can guarantee you'll hit, or guarantee that are in the area at the very least. And that Tiger, he has moved. T-34, nice target. A few buildings in the way though. A Tiger 88. Premium tank, I believe. Also a very nice target, and I've got the side of him right there. If he stops a little shorter than I was planning. That's alright, I know that my guys will spot him again. Yep, there he is. Okay, fully zoomed in. Take a shot. Look how far off this one lands. What? What? Yeah, that's pretty standard, unfortunately. I don't get my crew sometimes. It's like they go to the pub before they jump in the gunner's seat. We'll get a second shot on him. Unfortunately, it was a bit of a waste of a shot, really, but I wanted him just for that massive miss. And the fact that he sat there after seeing artillery firing at him, he must have known artillery wanted him. He just sat there. Yeah, fair enough. This is one case where you probably should have hit the T button. The T-34 is complaining about our T-20 hacking. What? Alright, he just got hit before my shot landed. But there's my first kill. We're done over 1,000 damage. There's the Tiger. Nice shot, Artie. Thanks, T-29. Now, apparently, our T-20 is hacking. The T-34 is not happy that he's dead. Our T-20 is hacking. I can't see a T-20 on my side. I can't see a T-20 anywhere. In fact, the T-29 is pointing it out to him. Who are you talking about? There is no T-20. I don't know what is going on in that T-34's mind. Let's have a little look at games played. And you are... The bloke has played 28,000 games and he has a win rate of 44. Take a shot on the Lerva. Unfortunately got hit just before I landed on him, so I didn't get that 700 odd damage. I only done 418, but it's kill number 2. AT-15 would have been a nicer target, but I was hoping the Lerva had a little bit more health at that when I fired. Got hit just before me. Someone isn't happy. Yeah, that's right. Oh, we're doing quite well. 10-3. In fact, we're kind of rolling them. I don't know how. I'm sorry that I can bounce you when angled. Yeah, T-34 can penetrate a T-29 turret. AT-15, gonna take a nice little shot here. We know he's still there. I'm going to warn my guys because I see a Tiger P coming in. I was hoping he wouldn't get too close.
That was close.
And again, we're quite far off there. We still managed to do 552 damage, and we've tracked him. Hoping my guys will do a little bit of damage to him whilst he's tracked. Unfortunately, they don't. They get very little damage done to him. Object 416, he's actually going to be taking, well, he has taken a little bit of friendly fire there. But that guy's done. T-69, he's also done. There's no chance whatsoever that I'm going to get a shot on him. So we're looking for the enemy Artie, hoping that he takes a shot. What I should have done here is look down at that KV-5. The IS-2, turns out the Artie wasn't even in that area. The Panther's about to find that out anyway. The IS-2 on our team down the bottom there, taking on the KV-5, does a pretty bad job of it actually. He's trying to retreat, but he's out in the open, and that's the end of him. KV-5's a nice slow tank, so I figure I probably could get a shot in here, nice and easy. I'm due for a little bit of, you know, RNG in my favour, but now that was just ridiculous. The shot landed as far out as it possibly could have. You see me there just having a look at how far that was. I should have waited. Should have waited for this shot here, because I wasn't fully zoomed in. Our T-34 is apologising for being late. He's still back up at the hill there. I don't know what he's doing over there. He's not going to find any enemies over there. T-71. Right. Yeah, it didn't go so well for you, did it? Did it? I want this shot, but the KV-5 is getting absolutely belted. He's only got 497 health left. We managed to reload just in time though. Take the shot, go forward, go forward! Ah, it doesn't matter. Easy kill. I think that might have actually been a penetration as well. So that there was not my best game yet played in this tank. I do have the ace tanker, but it's the best one I've got a replay of. replays have been playing up, as I've probably already said and will say again. So that's as good as it gets for now. The gun is insane when it lands. I do have 100% crew as well. I do have to re-look at my crew skills. They're all over the place. I have no idea where this crew came from or what they're doing like that. I don't have enough equipment on this tank as well. So I'm going to play around with that a little bit because I would like to keep this SU-14-1. Don't have the best record in it, but it's a lot of fun. It can get into tier 9 matches, and it has a tier 10 gun. Now, the same gun is available, it is the top gun in the tier 8, tier 9 and tier 10 ATI, Russian ATI. It's a little bit faster to work in the next tier along, but it's still a absolutely beast down at tier 7. But anyway, let's go have a look at the battle results. Alright, not a bad win, nothing fantastic about that win. One very strange thing that has come about with the new 8.11, 8.11 update, which has just dropped. This is quite literally the first game I played in 8.11. See here, I have my mastery badge 2nd class just then, in that victory. Right, well, hey, guess what? I actually already have my ace tanker in this one. Yeah, kind of strange. So I have my ace tanker, and apparently I'm also 2nd class. Well, I don't know, can't complain. Now the reason I'm showing you this one, and not my ace tanker, is because replays of my ace tanker badge aren't working. I'm hoping that the replay on this one is working. It is very hard to get a decent game in this thing. More down to just pugs, just playing with random people. Now in that one we did a bit of damage. Weren't the top for damage. That goes to the SU-101, who was well, he was commander as well as a very good player, as it turns out, with, what was it, 20,000 or something along those lines, games played. He was lucky enough to get Confederate and high caliber as well as 3 kills, but I got 3 kills as well, which is not an easy thing to do in an SU-14-1. Just because you've got almost a minute wait between shots. But anyway, let's keep looking at what I've done. 8 shots fired. That's quite a lot for this tank. Direct hits, only 3 were direct hits. We had a few little bit of splash damage though. 5 in fact splash damage, and 3 penetrations. The hits that did land all penetrated, which is fantastic. So really every shot fired done damage, and you're going to find that with this gun. It's a fantastic gun. Only 72 damage due to my assistance. I was hoping with that AT-15, was it? AT-15, I was hoping I'd done a little bit more damage than, or my teammate done a little bit more damage to the AT-15 whilst I had him tracked, but apparently not. Oh, look at that. Battle, he actually shows you up the top all the hits, the vehicle modules damaged, etc. Wow. IS-3, you can expect quite a few module damage with this gun as well. 777, that's a lucky number. And we managed to track and take out his gunner. I'd like to think that that helped our guys out if he didn't repair his gunner or heal him up. The Kbps, we got that last hit. I don't know what happened with the first shot I fired at him. It was a mile off. I was sure that it was aimed in enough, but apparently not. So we could have done a bit more damage, really. Whoa, 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 a bit of lag, bit of lag. Come back to me, come back to me. Modules, observation track, doesn't really matter, we got the final hit on him. The Lerva, 418 damage. Again, I think that was the final hit on him as well. It was. We took out his command, it doesn't matter, it was a final hit. The AT-15, we done a decent whack to him, 552. I'm guessing that was all splash damage, no actual penetration. You penetrate an AT-15 when it's just about full health, you're gonna destroy it. Took out his track, of course, and the driver. Doesn't really matter, he's got no way of moving around anyway. Oh, look! Wow! Lag, gone. That's random. The Yag Tiger, we got the last shot on him. I don't know what happened. I'm pretty sure I took a couple of shots at him. I don't know where the fail was. But we ammo-racked radio, track, commander, and loader. Again, it's the last shot, so it doesn't really matter doing 5 bits of module damage, but it's always fun to see. And the KV-1S, we done a pitiful little 26 damage, and I think he might have been the one that went and drowned himself. Let's just have a little look there, shall we? KV-1S. You there, how'd you go? You, yeah, you drowned. Good job. Well done. I'm not sure if he was usually if you're pushed into the water, you are... the person that pushed you is credited, so... For whatever reason, he decided to drown himself. Why not? But anyway, that is a look. That is a reasonably long look, 9 minutes 11 seconds. I was going to show you 2 replays. The first replay being me firing 1 round and enemy artillery blowing me up. It's a pretty standard strategy, except I'm having a lot of bad luck. I guess you can call it bad luck in finding somebody. Every second game before I started this review, I was blown up by enemy artillery. Since starting this, since finishing the review, not one enemy artillery has tried to kill me. I don't get it. I don't get it. The strategy is very simple. You set your arty up, you look exactly where the enemy arty generally will place themselves, and you can see their shot fired. Then you fire into that spot and blow them up. Now the reason it is so effective against the SU-14-1 is because of... Close you. Where is my SU-14-1? Oh, there, in the middle, of course. It's because of this engine power here, this power to weight ratio. It's not fantastic. So you don't really move quick. You end up getting stuck right where the enemy artillery shell lands constantly. Now, it's not the only artillery with that problem, of course, but ones like the S-51, they got a little bit more speed, a little bit better at getting out of the way. Of course, you got the French that they're just crazy the way they fly around, almost like a light tank. But anyway, I didn't get unlucky enough to show you one of those games, so I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully you've enjoyed the review. If you have, hit like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.